Alright, welcome back, Hatt Clan fam. I got an awesome lesson that we're doing today. Today we are checking out how to play Beabadoobee's Disappear. This is a super awesome song. You guys requested it, so I'm going to be breaking it down. So let's get into it right away. Alright, so let's get into the song, but first off, we have to talk about the tuning. This is a very interesting tuning, so let's get into tune here before we break all the parts down. This is what we call dad fad tuning. It is basically open D tuning. So I tune my strings to get the sound of an open D chord as we would down here. And the notes that we have here are going to be D, A, D, F sharp, A, and D again. So this is open D tuning or dad fad. So D, A, D, F sharp, A, and D. Once you get into tune here, then we need to put a capo on the 4th fret. Now this song's not all that complicated. We only really have two chord shapes that we have to deal with, and then we have a little couple different interlude lead line parts. So let's kind of talk about the intro and the verses, and then we'll break down all the other parts. Alright, so this song really revolves around 2 specific chord shapes, so we really only have to worry about 2 chords, and there's some interlude parts here. Everything that I'm going to be calling out is going to be relative to the capo, so I'm going to consider this 1, 2, 3, etc. The first chord shape that we're going to have is going to be played with our first 2 fingers here. You can play with your first 2 fingers, your second and third, and we're just going to track this shape. So this first chord is going to be like a D6 chord. Really pretty sounding. And I'm going to be on the 9th fret of the A and D, and everything else is going to be open. And I'm going to track this up to the 11th fret. This will be like a D major 7 with a sharp 11. But again, just worry about that. So 9 and 9, 11, 11, 7 and 7, and then 4 and 4. And I'm going to be doing primarily just downstrokes, so it's going to sound like this. Now on this chord shape down here, I kind of do an upstroke. So with lyrics, kiss me on my neck. That's going to just take care of your verse parts and your intro. Now we're going to have this next kind of chord shape. I guess I would consider this kind of like the pre-chorus. Basically, I'm going to be down here. This is going to be like an A major 7 with a sus4. Again, don't really worry about the names of the chords, but here's the chord shape. So I'm going to be on the 2nd fret here, and I'm going to have 2, nothing, 2, 2, open. You don't really have to worry about if you get the other strings around it to ring. Sometimes B plays them in there, sometimes she doesn't. It depends on what kind of version that you listen to. But anyway, that part's going to be like this. And then since we're in an open D position, this open chord really is going to be considered like a, it would be really like a G major chord with a sus4. So we're going to play that chord, and then open. Yeah, this is the part where it says, that shit's disappeared. Yeah, that shit's disappeared. That shit's disappeared. And then we get into the chorus part. So now what we're going to do here is we're going to take that chord shape, and we're going to slide it all the way up here. And this is going to be 1 fret behind your double dot. So from here, it'd be like your 8th fret, or if you want to consider it your 11th. But same exact chord shape. And now we're just going to strum back between these chords to open. Shit's disappeared, open. So here's your verses and intro. The chorus, I'm kind of doing that. quick down up. Now there's kind of like this little interlude instrumental part where, you know, do you remember? This part right here is really, really cool, so it sounds like this. What I'm basically doing here is this is all going to be kind of a melody line on your high E string or your D string now, the way that it's tuned. So your first string, I'm going to be going to 4 to 8 and then all the way up here. So this would be let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7 and then 8, 9, 10, 11, 11th. So I'm just tracking that while I'm letting the chord ring above it. A bit of a stretch, so I would recommend using your first finger and then using your fourth finger. That's going to happen like twice. And then you're back into your verses again. So let me play out all the parts together and I'll kind of call out the parts and see if you can play along with me. So here's the verse. Pre-chorus. Shit's disappeared. Yeah, the shit's disappeared. Chorus. Shit's disappeared. Chorus. Interlude instrumental. Back to the verse. So not all that tricky of a song, you just had to keep in mind where your fingers are kind of lying and the position in which your fingers are going. So just remember you have those 2 chord shapes, and then you kind of just play it over and over again. And again, don't really necessarily have to worry about the names of the chords, but if you wanted to, you have like a D6 to a D major 7 with a sharp 11 to a D add 9, just to an open D chord. And interestingly enough, when you actually get to this melody line up here, it's basically like outlining the triad of a D major chord, which is really kind of cool, you know, which is really, really cool. Or like a D major 7. Really kind of based around those harmonies. Alright guys, that was the video. I hope you really liked it. Let me know what you'd like to see next. I really love doing these song lessons, and if you know anybody else that would be really interested in checking out any of these videos, feel free to share them, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care.